guys, it's me, Maya, and I hope that you're having an awesome day. Today I wanted to share with you something really simple, but something that's been helping me out a lot personally, and that is my brush cleaning routine. I know it sounds like really silly that it's helping me out personally, but honestly, the best feeling when it comes to like makeup is having fresh, brand new brushes. So I'm going to show you these two products that I've been using lately. I just threw them back in the packaging, but I'm going to be showing you how I use the Sigma Dry and Shape Spa, which is like a little dryer and also a washing tool, and then also how I use the solid makeup brush cleaner from Sigma. So I'm going to show you these two products in combination and how they make up my whole cleaning routine for my brushes. And before we jump right into the video, make sure that you hit the red subscribe button down below so you're up to date with everything that I create, and click the little bell icon so that you're notified when my actual videos go live. And yeah, let's get started with my little bubbly bath for my brushes. So if you guys are interested in learning how I clean my brushes on the weekly, then just keep on watching. I pretty much do like a deep clean at least once a week because I am a little bit like germophobe. Like, I'm not the most up to date with everything. I'm not washing them every day, but at least once a week I like to do a deep clean, and then between that I have like a spray cleaner that I'll also show you guys that I like to use in between those times, so that on the daily I always have clean brushes. My main piece of advice for cleaning your brushes is to make sure that you're staying on top of it. Make sure you know which brushes you used, and that way it's just like, if you just do it once a week, it's not going to be like this huge headache, versus if you wait a while and you have some brushes and it accumulates, and next thing you know you have like 60 brushes to wash. That can be a literal nightmare. So my biggest piece of advice is just stay on top of it and do like once a week just the few brushes that you use throughout the week, and then also using a spray cleaner in between so you make sure that you're like extra hygienic. So those are my big two pieces of advice. So let's jump right into the bathroom so you guys can see how I clean my brushes. See, I have a very dirty beauty blender and brushes here, and yeah, this is just my bathroom. So I have my sink where all of the magic happens, and we will get started in just a second. So we are getting started with my beauty blender, and as you guys can see, it has a ton of product on it. So pretty much it just has a lot of foundation and powder just caked together. I use it for both my setting powder and my foundation and concealer, so it does get pretty gunky pretty quickly. So I'm using this solid brush cleaner. I tend to prefer the solid ones, and what's cool about this one from Sigma is that it has like a little texture built in. So it has these little rubber grips that pop out from the soap, and that really helps to massage that product into either your brush or your beauty blender. And don't worry, this doesn't really affect the quality of your beauty blender. This is actually the second one of these solid brush cleaners from Sigma that I have, and it's totally fine and safe to use on your beauty blenders. Here you can see I'm just rinsing it out. My main thing is just looking for any areas that still have a bunch of product. There's always like one spot that just holds on to product a lot, and so I just go back and focus on those areas. I do use my fingers a good amount, and I would suggest that you do the same. So I am just going in and massaging a good amount of that product into the beauty blender, and as you can see, it's nice and squeaky clean. So I really do make sure that it's completely clean, and then I lay it to dry, usually just on a little microfiber towel like this one, or you can use a paper towel if you don't have one like this, but it really works well. Then I'm moving on to a brush that has a ton of powder products. So I use this brush usually for any powder foundation that I use, and so I'm doing the same thing. I'm just rubbing in circular motions. This is a synthetic bristled brush, so for those I really do just circular motions. And then I'm using this contraption from the brush dryer that also helps to massage the soap into the bristles of the brush, and I absolutely love this. And there's different textures on this little barrel, so I'm focusing on this like bubbly one that's a little bit like bigger. So for my bigger brushes, I focus on these areas that just give you a little bit more texture, and it's really perfect for longer bristled brushes. So that's what I tend to do. And then I'm just making sure that's completely dry. We're just really wringing it out to get it as dry as possible, and again just laying it flat to dry. Momentarily you'll see how I use that little Sigma contraption to dry all my brushes long term, but I just lay them down on that same microfiber towel. And now I'm going in with this e.l.f. powder brush, so same kind of situation. I usually use this brush for bronzer or blush, but I really mix it up sometimes and use it for like setting powder or powder foundation as well. And again, here I'm using that larger texture on this barrel to really scrub the brush clean. So because this is a synthetic brush, I'm again using circular motions to really massage that brush and get all the product out as much as possible. And a tip for you is just to look at the barrel of the brush where the hairs connect and just really assess if you need to go back. So I'm going back in for more, and I'm using this more like fine texture. It almost looks like, I don't know, like a cleaning head for your face. And I'm going in to really massage right there at the root of the bristles to make sure that everything's nice and clean. And then I do use my hands a good amount. So here I'm just making sure that I'm wringing it out, getting all the soap out, but using my hands as well. Even though the Sigma little contraption is really perfect for massaging the soap, I do use my hands a fair amount as well. Now this is a natural fiber brush. This is a little contour brush that I use pretty much just exclusively for contour. So for this, I'm not going in circular motions, and that's really important for your natural fiber brushes. What can happen is those natural fibers can get kind of destroyed pretty much when you go in circular motion. So imagine your hair that you're taking care of. Like, you want to be very gentle with your hair. You don't want to like break it. And when you do those circular motions, it breaks natural hair. And that's what these natural fiber brushes are made out of, animal hairs too. So, so just be a little bit more safe. I just go in like back and forth motions, and I'm just very gentle. And here I have a highlighter brush that I use pretty often, so I'm using a lot of soap here. But I do circular motions again because this is a synthetic bristled brush. Just wringing it out, making sure everything's nice and even, looking good, and again assessing the barrel of the brush to make sure all the product's out. Here is my Sigma E40 brush. It gets a lot of use, so I'm going a little hand with the soap here, but you don't need to use much for small brushes. So eye brushes, you just use a small amount and that'll be fine. And for small brushes, I like to use that more fine texture on that Sigma barrel. So same thing here, this is just another brush. This one's from Morphe, and I'm doing the same kind of routine, circular motions because it is synthetic, and then just focusing on those small little nubs here and getting all of the product out. And with these light colored brushes, you need to just really make sure that it's completely clear and clean. Sometimes you'll see at the end of the brush there might be like some staining, or sometimes it's just the natural hairs will be a little bit darker at the ends. But just become aware of what it looks like when it's fully clean and make sure that that's what's going on. So here it's fully clean, even though you see a little bit of like a rusty color at the edges. When it dries, it will look completely white. And here's a little eyeshadow brush. Because it is flat, you can go a little bit more back and forth, almost like we did with the natural fiber bristle brush, and that works pretty well. And I'm using a fine little zigzag texture here to clean the brush. Again, with these smaller brushes, you want to use those small little nooks and crannies in this little barrel. And because this is a small detail brush, synthetic as well, I'm going in circular motions again here. Loading up a good amount of product. You can see it's very sudsy, but it really works well, this fine texture, to really clean out my brushes. And it does so really quickly. I'm actually pretty surprised by how quickly you can clean your brushes, and you can get through like a fair amount very quickly. So now I'm all done. I'm putting the cap onto my solid brush cleaner, and what's cool about this one is that it has little holes so your actual soap can like dry properly, and it's not like this muggy, nasty consistency. And I'm just rinsing off the little barrel here, and I'm connecting it back to the pieces that become a brush dryer. So you can see it all put together again. It has these little loops that you can put the bristles through, and then those like rubbery loops are for holding the handles in place. So I'll show you what I mean. So here I have a little, I guess it's like a bronzer brush that I'm just sticking through, and I'm putting it through that little elastic band first, and then I'm letting the bristles go through so it shapes them really nicely. So you can see it just pulls them tight and close, and it's so good at keeping your brushes form. I can't like state this enough. It's just so important, and it does such a good job, this tool. I had a little bit of an issue here, so just be aware like certain brush sizes you might struggle with. So this one I'm struggling because the end of the barrel is so thick. But for the most part, I haven't really had any issues, and as you can see, I still got it through somehow, and it still works. It's just a little bit of a struggle, so something to know. And for these little eyeshadow brushes, there's a compartment in the inside that you can stick them into. And this does a really good job as well. It doesn't have the little loops that are made out of fabric, but still it holds them in place and everything looks nice and neat, and I love it. You should place them upside down so the water drips out of the barrels and not into them. And that's what it looks like. Yay! And I just leave this overnight on my microfiber towel. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I really love these new products I picked up. I mentioned them in my iMats haul because that's where I picked them up, but you can find them online, and I'll leave the links to all of the products that I use down below. The whole way that I use my brushes has improved so much since I started using the Sigma products. Pretty much it just makes it easier to keep the integrity of the bristles, which is super important, especially when you're talking about those high-end brushes that cost a pretty penny, and when you're talking about natural fiber brushes. So for me that's super important, and it has been working like a charm. I feel like every time that I clean my brushes, when I use them next time, they're like brand spanking new. And before I forget, this is the brush cleaner that I've been using, but this is the Citrus Brush Cleaner by Sephora, and I absolutely love this product. It's just really easy and it dries quick. And it smells really awesome. It smells like lemon lime citrus, which is really just nice, a little bit orangey too. And yeah, I just spray a little bit on a paper towel and just rub my eye brushes or whichever brushes I'm cleaning. I'm specifically cleaning typically my like powder brushes because I feel like I get a lot of powder within the brush itself and it kind of impacts the wear of the brush, and then also my eyeshadow brushes. So those are the main things that I clean on like a daily basis, and it's just really quick. I just spritz a little bit, rub it on a paper towel or on a microfiber cloth, so just like the one that I was drying my brushes on momentarily until I put it up in that little canister. Pretty much that's what I use for actually cleaning off my brushes on the daily, and then I just throw it in the wash and it's super easy. So I actually recommend using that compared to paper towels because I feel like because it's so fluffy and thick, it actually does a better job at cleaning your brushes with like a product like this. And like I said, you can just throw it in the wash. It's super easy, simple to use, and it washes out really well, so no problems there. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and took something away from it. If you did, make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.